Hello, my name is Gary. This is my story. I was born in Bonn, Germany. My parents' names were Corgi and Safra. My birthday is up to speculation as nobody really remembers. My generous brother Michael took it upon himself to assign me a birth date and chose April 1st. It's his favorite day, and he said because it's a holiday, nobody would forget. Although I think that's better said than done. I was birthed in a barn on my Uncle Jerry's farm in 1770. My mother died after the birth of my final sibling, September. My family hates him now, as they believe he's a demon for murdering my mother, but I think he's alright. My siblings from oldest to youngest are Michael, Kelsey, Tulip, Taffy, Vivian, John, Tallulah, Gary, that's me, Gwen, Greg, Mary, Chelsea, and September. Here is my relationship chart, drawn by my technologically able assistant Miko. I don't think it's so accurate, but she's pretty smart. When I was 5, my father sent me to work in the nail factory with him. I was so thrilled, as only the strongest men could work. My other siblings worked on the farm. At night, Taffy would help me boil the nails out of my hands. She is my favorite sister. I worked there until I was 7. On the final day of my job, my father had sent me out to fetch a watering pail as the station was on fire. I ran out to the nearby well when suddenly the factory exploded. There was a fire and shooting nails out, so I ducked behind the well. When the coast was clear, I ran into the blazing building to fetch my father's corpse, but alas, I could only find his golden tooth. I brought it back to my uncle at the barn, who was disappointed that I couldn't save him. I had to break the news to my siblings that they were all orphans now. They started arguing about who should get the golden tooth. They tried to grab it from me, but I suggested a vote. They thought I was ridiculous and started throwing rocks at me. I ran away and swallowed it. When they realized what I'd done, Gwen suggested they do open surgery on me. Michael said we should wait. Mary said they should feed me rocks until I puked out, so they started feeding me rocks. I don't remember much after that, but the next thing I know, there was a big hole in my stomach and a dead Gwen. Greg said they got scared when she started doing the open surgery and dealt with her themselves. I guess the rock idea didn't go well. I worked on the farm until age 8 when Tallulah decided to start homeschooling us. She was a strict teacher, but I learned a lot, like how to shear a cow and how to deglove a snake. Tallulah knew everything about animals. When I told her I wanted to be a veterinarian, she told me, "We eat meat in this house," and beat me with a shoe. While she was beating me for having dreams, Greg was outside screaming about the chacals. The chacals were large, horse-like mosquitoes that sucked the souls of the unfortunate. Usually, we get these every summer. However, it was early spring. Tallulah peeked out the window to see Mary and Vivian being attacked by irregularly giant chacals. She bolted the door shut, but Greg was still outside. I warned her that her acts counted as murder and she would be considered a sinner, but she just stuffed the shoe in my mouth and ran upstairs. When I looked outside the window, Greg was gone. Michael and John were with my Uncle Jerry in the town when this happened, so they had the emergency shackle shelter to take cover. I grabbed September and ran upstairs where Tallulah was hiding, but she said September's bad luck would send the shackles straight to her. So we went to the kitchen and hid in the cabinets. Luckily, they were most always empty, so we had plenty of room. We hid in there for probably 5 days until the buzzing stopped. When Michael, John, and Uncle Jerry returned, we did a family roll call. Uncle Jerry was furious to see that I let some of my siblings die, so he sent me to the cabinets. Taffy would stick fruit through the cracks of the counters, and sometimes bugs would sneak in for protein. I didn't really mind it in there, but I missed Tallulah's teachings. I don't know how much time passed, but when the fruit and bugs stopped coming, I began to eat the wood of the cabinets because I was a bit famished. Unfortunately, I ran out of wood to eat. At that point, there was no cabinet left, so I looked around and remembered what our house looked like. It was difficult to stand up, so I crawled around for a few days. Nobody was home for a while, so when I could stand, I walked into town. But there was no town. I looked around, although my vision wasn't great from the perpetual darkness. I think we were nuked. I couldn't find my way back home because I was mostly blind, so I just walked for a very long time. I went on boats and carriages and more carriages. I think we were attacked by pirates one day, because once I was scooped up from my ship with my fellow mateys and thrown into the vast sea. I didn't know how to swim, but I sank to the bottom of the ocean, and suddenly there was light. Lots of blue light. I was very cold, but I could see the fish and coral around me. I looked down at my gray, skinny arms and realized I had fins and swam along the ocean floor. Dolphins guided me and fish kissed my cheeks. When I reached the land, I didn't want to leave, but my sea creature friends started biting my toes until I walked. I waved goodbye and never forgot them, although I don't remember their names or what they looked like. I was on some gravelly, grainy land of yellow and white, and there were people everywhere. until they all ran away screaming, "Monster!" So I ran too because I was scared, but I never saw a monster, so maybe my vision wasn't completely back to normal yet. I walked into the very smooth roads where many factories screamed and slid everywhere. It was scary, so I started throwing my arms up and screaming. These blue men came and tackled me and put me into a factory, although it was a nice memory of home. They said I was a missing person, but I insisted I wasn't missing because I was right there, until they showed me a white box with my face on it and said, "Here." And what do you know, it was a tiny painting of me with my name on it. I must be some kind of celebrity or famous, so I told them all about my time in Germany. Eventually, the blue men screamed at me and started covering their ears because my story was so agonizingly boring they couldn't take it. My storytelling might need more practice too. They locked me in a very big room for a while, although the space made it uncomfortable. I wanted to feel held by wood. Sometimes beetles would crawl in and I'd get a nice snack, so I was pretty happy. A long time went by until a blue man let me out and took me to this beautiful blonde goddess. She shrieked and hugged me as if she knew me. She was probably a fan, so I let it slide. She was talking nonsense and tried to drag me into another factory box. She was successful though because I didn't struggle and I wasn't too fond of the blue man. She told me her name was Tallulah, but that didn't ring a bell. She told me about some Michael, Kelsey, Tulip, Taffy, Vivian, John, Tallulah, Gary, Gwen, Greg, Mary, Chelsea, September, Uncle Jerry, Corey, and Sapphire, Doreen. But those didn't ring any bells either, except for Tallulah because she was right in front of me, and also except for Gary because that was me. When she brought me back to her house, it was very strange. It was full of all this red, white, and blue theme and southern family values. I didn't know what all that meant, so I stole a piece of wood from her bright rooms and ran away. I didn't know where I was, but I ended up alone in a very hot and dry field gnawing on my wooden snack. That's when I was intruded by another factory box. Frankly, I was sick of seeing these and it enraged me, so I started biting at it when it stopped near me. Some creature with blue hair and pronouns got out and started spraying me with a bottle. I didn't like that, so I stopped and she put me in a box. She talked so much I tried to escape, but every time I did, she would come back with the spray. She brought me to the strange place underground called Kia Lab, where she sprayed me down too much, gave me an outfit, sat me in a chair with a name tag that said my name. I don't know how she knew my name, but all I could do then was silently stare into the bright magical cube for hours until she said I could go to sleep in my wooden cabinet. I don't know if she knew I liked those either, but I was very content.
This simulation is brought to you by McDonald's Miku Kia Lab Inc. Thank you for watching.